I am going to be honest with you right now. And I mean really honest. Not the kind of honest where you clean it up before you say it out loud. The real kind. The kind that sits in your chest for years before you finally let it out. I am 75 years old, and for most of my life I chased happiness like it was a train I kept missing. I thought it lived somewhere else, in the next job, in the bigger house, in the day the kids finally got settled, in retirement, always somewhere just ahead of me, never right here, never right now. There's actually a name for that in psychology. It's called hedonic adaptation. It means your brain, no matter how good things get, always resets back to a baseline, like a thermostat. You get the raise, you feel great for a month, then it's just normal again. You get the house, you feel proud for a season, then it's just walls and a roof. Your brain is literally wired to keep wanting more. It's not a character flaw, it's just how we are built. And nobody told me that when I was 35 and grinding myself into the ground, trying to feel like enough. So I spent decades doing it wrong, chasing the big things, waiting for the grand moments to show up and finally make me feel full. And they never did, not in the way I expected. And then something happened, and it didn't happen all at once. It crept up slow, the way most real things do. I woke up one morning, maybe 3 years ago now, and everything just felt quiet. My wife was still asleep. The house had that early light coming through the curtains, that soft gray-gold color, right before the sun fully commits to the day. And I just sat there on the edge of the bed. My back was stiff, my knees were doing that thing they do, and I just stopped. I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't start going through the list in my head. I just sat there and breathed, and for about 30 seconds I didn't need anything at all. That 30 seconds changed me. I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but I'm telling you, it's not. See, most of us, especially as we get older, we wake up, and the first thing that happens is the mind starts moving. What hurts today? What appointment is coming? Who hasn't called? How much time is left? And before you even get out of bed, there's already this low hum of dread underneath everything. Psychologists call it anticipatory anxiety, your nervous system preparing for threats that haven't even happened yet, getting you ready to defend yourself against a day that hasn't started. And for years, I didn't even notice I was doing it. It was just how mornings felt, heavy, like putting on a coat that doesn't quite fit anymore. But that morning, sitting on the edge of my bed with my stiff back and my quiet house, I just didn't do it. I just breathed, and I said something out loud, real quiet, barely even a whisper. I said, "I'm still here," and that's something. Now, I know that sounds simple, maybe even a little sad when you say it like that. I'm still here. But you've got to understand something. When you're 75, when you buried people you loved, when you've had the health scares and the long nights and the mornings where getting up felt like a mountain, those 3 words carry a weight you cannot fully explain to someone who hasn't felt it yet. I'm still here. That means I get another morning. That means the light still comes through the window for me. That means I'm not done yet. And something in my chest just loosened. After that, I started doing it on purpose, every morning, before I reached for anything, before I let the day pull me somewhere. I would just pause, take one slow breath, and say something. Sometimes it was, "I'm grateful for this breath." Sometimes it was, "Today I'm going to be kind, even when it's hard." Sometimes it was just, "I still matter. I still have something left to give." And then I would look at something, Not my phone, something real. The light on the wall. The photo on the nightstand of my kids when they were small. The coffee cup my daughter gave me that says, "World Okayest Dad," which I think is hilarious and also true. Something that connected me to this world. Something that reminded me I wasn't floating alone in my own head. I was here, part of something. That practice, that tiny little 3-part thing. Pause, say something kind, look outward. It rewired something in me. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds nice. There's actually a psychological mechanism behind it called neuroplasticity, which is just a fancy way of saying your brain can change its patterns at any age if you give it the right input consistently. Your brain forms new pathways based on what you repeat. What you focus on literally grows stronger over time. So if you start every morning in fear, your brain gets better at fear. And if you start every morning in even a small, quiet moment of gratitude, your brain starts building a pathway toward that instead.
I did not know any of that when I started. I just knew the mornings felt different, softer somehow, less like something to survive, and more like something to actually live. There was a woman in my community, sharp woman, always put together, always moving fast. She stopped me one afternoon after church, and she looked at me real careful and said, "You seem different lately. Like something settled in you. What happened?" And I told her the whole thing. The edge of the bed, the 30 seconds, the quiet phrase, looking at the light on the wall. And she kind of tilted her head the way people do when they are waiting for the rest of the story. Like I had to have left something out. Like it had to be more complicated than that. But that is the thing. It is not. We spend so much of our lives looking for the complicated answer, the big fix, the right book, the right therapist, the right trip, the right conversation that is finally going to change everything. And sometimes those things help. They really do. But the ground-level stuff, the actual foundation of a calm life, it is almost embarrassingly small. It is a breath. It is a phrase. It is 30 seconds before the day gets loud. Now, some mornings I do not feel it. I want to be upfront about that. Some mornings I say the phrase and it lands flat. Like saying words in a language you're not sure you believe in anymore. Some mornings the body aches too much, or the loneliness sits too heavy, and the whole thing feels like I'm just going through the motions. But I do it anyway, because here's what I've learned after 75 years. You do not wait to feel ready. You do not wait until the conditions are right. You just do the thing, especially on the days it feels hollow, because those are exactly the days your brain needs the signal the most. It's like watering a plant in a drought. You don't stop watering just because the ground looks dry. That's actually when you need to do it more. And slowly, and I mean slowly, over weeks and months of doing this, something shifted. My days started having more of those small moments that used to slip right past me. The way my coffee smells in the morning, the sound of kids laughing somewhere down the street, a text from an old friend out of nowhere. Things I would have walked right past 5 years ago now actually land. They register. They feel something. There's a study, and it's been replicated many times, that shows older adults consistently report higher levels of emotional well-being than younger adults. not despite everything they've been through, partly because of it. Because something happens when you've lived long enough. You start to understand deep in your bones what actually matters, and it's almost never the things you thought it was going to be. It's the morning light. It's the phrase you say to yourself before the world wakes up. It's the feeling of still being here when you weren't always sure you would be. So I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually sit with it for a second. What is the first thing that happens in your mind when you wake up in the morning? What is the very first direction your thoughts go? Because whatever that is, that's what your brain has been trained to do first. And you trained it, even if you don't remember deciding to. You can retrain it. I'm living proof. At 75, with a stiff back and 2 replaced knees and more losses than I care to count, I retrained my brain to start the day with something that feels like grace instead of dread. And if I can do it, I really believe you can too. Tomorrow morning, before your phone, before the news, before the list, before any of it, stop. Take one real breath. Say one thing to yourself that is actually kind, and then look at something in the room that connects you to this life. Just look at it for a second. Let your eyes rest there, and let yourself feel, even for 30 seconds, that you are part of this world, and this world still has room for you in it. That's it. That's the whole thing. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not trying to make you feel inspired in a way that fades by Tuesday. I'm just an old man who finally figured out what he wishes he'd known at 35, and I thought maybe it was worth saying out loud. Take care of yourself. The morning is coming again soon. Make it yours.